All right, welcome everybody. It's Trader Roundup, where highly tuned, like-minded traders come together to get 1% stronger each and every day. There's another episode of Funded Fridays, and I got two special guests with me today, Andrew NFX and Cready Trades. Welcome, guys.
Hey, man.
What's up?
So everybody knows Trader Roundup. They know me as let me change my name. Sorry, they know me as Jade Cap. They know Kit as ICT Concepts, and they know Rodrigo. We're all ICT traders, but you guys are not ICT traders. So kind of introduce yourself. Maybe start. We'll start with Andrew, and then we'll go to Creedy and introduce your guys' selves and let us know like how you got started in trading, how you found funded trading, and what's your journey been like?
Hey, man. So my name is Andrew. I'm from Romania. I'm currently 24. I've been trading for almost 5 years, and I'm not an ICT trader because I never studied it. I went the long road. That means I just had to put the hard work in. I didn't really find any good mentor. Back when I started, there was no ICT, there was no funding companies, there was nothing. So my journey was just basically look at the charts day in, day out, 16 hours a day, sleep for the rest, and notice why stuff happen. How can I catch the moves? And basically, I created my sort of concepts around that, which later on I found they're very similar to smart money traders and ICT concepts. But at the end of the day, I don't really care how they're named. All I care is making profits. So with the funding companies, I've had a long journey. I started with FTMO, then funding talent. That was my big withdrawal, and they still owe me around 100K to this day.
Oh,
But it is what it
Hmm.
is. Yeah, bad vibes. And yeah, now I'm currently funded with around 2.1 million across multiple prop firms, and that's about it. And I just got banned on FTMO as well. If you want to chat about that later.
okay. Yeah, that's something I actually did want to chat with you about. But how about you? How about you, Creedy?
Yeah, I'm 36. My name's Darren. I'm from Maryland. I started trading forex specifically about 2.5 years ago. I was in like equities and whatnot before that. Um, I was really just trying to find a way to trade a little bit more flexibly rather than like the day trading, pattern day trading rules and all that stuff with the stock market. I found forex. It seemed like I could start with low capital. It seemed legit. It wasn't like binary options or any of the other stuff that was out there. So I was like, okay, I can dig into this. Um, I studied mostly within groups about like three courses I took. The third one was the one that stuck with Forex League, and they had a community where I could actually learn and develop. After about 6 months in, they released we got funded challenges every month with TFT or the funded trader. So I was doing 10K challenges just about every month, just building my strategy and whatnot, which is probably different than a lot of people because when I first came in, I jumped almost immediately into prop trading versus trading my own capital for an extended period of time. But fast forward 2 years, now I'm funded with the funded trader, my Forex funds, FTMO. I just got funded with my funded FX the other day, and I've also got funded engineer, so I'm up to 900K in capital right now.
Nice, man. Congrats. So like all of us are trading at multiple firms. So I guess my question to you guys was like, what made you want to just go for more capital, or how did you start out? Did you start out with just one firm, or did you try to go for multiple firms? Because for me, I don't know why my name keeps changing. For me, like every time so I started with one account. It was at FTMO. I got a really big payout. You could say I was kind of gambling. Everybody knows like I took a huge Bitcoin short on 400K. So I made like 10% in a day almost, and that kind of jump started my capital and my prop firm career, I guess. And I took a lot of those profits and just reinvested it in in more firms and more capital. So how did you guys get started with with prop firm trading? Did you just start out small? Like was it a 25K, 50K accounts, and then scaled up from there?
For me, I just started straight up with the 100K. There was not really any point in going for smaller capital as I was already trading a 5-figure personal account. So there was not really any point in going lower than that. So my first accounts were 100K because that's back when I started. FTMO was only offering 100K accounts, if you remember. And then after funding talent came in, they raised the max allocation to 300K. So I got the max funded with them. I was setting 100K accounts. And then, I don't know, it just traded those accounts. My Forex funds came in, got max funded, went straight for I think at first they offered 200K. So I had two 200K accounts and then I scaled up to 600K. I also got the VIP with them. I was one of the first. And yeah, basically from there, I just realized that the key to success in especially when trading funded capital is not doing a bigger percentage return. It's just keeping the same percentage return but raising capital.
Yeah.
Also cycling through
So,
accounts, you know.
so you had mentioned too, like you never really found a mentor. So did you just teach yourself, or like what is your strategy typically?
It's basically the same thing as you guys trade. I think it's just watching the higher time frame, and then the big key of my trading is I only trade during the first hour of London and the first hour of through New York. So I guess they're called kill zones. I just figured by
Mm,
watching the data on my pairs that that's when moves happen. So I just focus on that, and from also understanding that there's only two moves that happen in a certain day. So there's the London move and then the New York move. And if I miss that move, then I'm not gonna look for a reversal and that's where a lot of people go wrong. They see London pushing 20 pips and they start selling, or then price retraces and then they start buying again, and they
yeah,
just
that's such a
they
good.
take losses.
That's such a good point because a lot of times I find once that first move happens, a lot of times you've already missed it. And
Exactly. Yeah.
if you try and get in, a lot of times it's either going to retrace on you or you're just not going to get an efficient price. So I think a lot of people, if they just remain patient, if they miss the move on the day, then there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
just coming back tomorrow, right?
Yeah. There's not any more available moves, so it's either you're gonna lose a percentage from your account, or you're just gonna wait for the next session,
Exactly.
the next move.
So I mean, do you talk with any other traders, or did you kind of learn on your own? Like, were you just in a room by yourself, just studying?
Just in the room with myself, bro. It's just sleeping for 4 or 5 hours, watching the charts like I'm an addict. And I don't know, it just kind of clicked. And I also have a very good memory, so I just remember patterns and I remember how price moves. And one big key to my success was just focusing on a few pairs. So first I started trading gold. I just traded gold for a year nonstop every single day, and then I added Euro USD, GU, and now it's just the three main pairs that I trade. And then you learn how it moves, you learn it has certain patterns, and then it's not that difficult, right? You just wait for the time to trade in, you see some confirmation, you take the trade, you have a good trading plan, and then trading is not that hard. It's just
Yeah, and like
psychology.
I love what you brought up as far as like not trying to go for outsized gains because if you can't manage a small account, there's no way you're going to manage a big account.
Yeah,
But
of course. Yeah.
if you can pass the 10K challenge, you can pass the 200K challenge, you can pass the 400K challenge. It's the same
Yeah,
parameters, same risk parameters. It just messes with your psychology because now you're
Mhm.
managing more money than you're used to, right?
Right, right.
yeah, but it's just levels to this game,
It's the
right?
same,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a
There's
balance.
levels exactly,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but it's the same as far as your strategy, your risk management. Everything's the same. You just the numbers are just getting bigger.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, everything's scalable. For me, I had to really take a step back. So when I first started, I was doing the free 10K ones with our group, which turned into a 50K if you passed it. I did okay with the 50Ks. I was trading the 10Ks the best, but I was impatient like a lot of people, and I wanted to really, you know, make returns without even truly knowing how to trade efficiently yet. So I was like, oh, I'll try 100K and that'll give me more room for drawdown, or I'll try 200K and that'll, I have more margin for error. But it really just opened me up to bigger losses, bigger pains, bigger headaches, harder emotional hits, and psychological impacts. So eventually, I don't. It only took me one 200K attempt to realize that hey, like this isn't the way to learn for me. So I backed it down to the 10Ks, and I got really efficient at the 10Ks. I developed some systems as far as my risk management, position sizing, and whatnot. Something that was really replicatable and scalable. So then when I came back to the 50Ks, I was trading, I was operating exactly the same. It was just different numbers. And then eventually I got comfortable with the 50s, and then I went to the hundreds. And just back in, I want to say February was when January, February, I got comfortable, like really solid with the 100Ks. And I was like, okay. And at this point, I had, I think, like 4 or 5 accounts with TFT, smaller ones, 10Ks, 50Ks, hundreds. I was like, I'm going to go to FTMO because, in my opinion, they had the strictest parameters. So I was like, if I can go here and pass this 200K challenge, I can go anywhere and do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the mindset that I had. And once I passed that one, it was like out the gates from there. Just 200K here, 200K there. You win some, you lose some, but just make sure you maintain more than you lose over time was the biggest key. It's like, hey, if I'm going to lose this 50K due to a breach or something, I need 100K to replace it. If I lose 100K, I need a 200K to replace it as I make that journey and still learn from the loss itself.
So I typically ask this to a lot of the funder traders that come on here. Do you guys find that the prop firm parameters and the rules actually improved your trading? Because for me, they definitely did. I was more strict with my risk management. I was letting my trades pan out a little bit longer. I think it was because, like, typically I was just trading like a 5-figure account. It wasn't anything crazy. But when I started seeing bigger numbers and actually making more money, and I saw the ability to, possibly replace my full-time income, like I started treating trading a lot more seriously. Like, did you guys experience that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Risk management, really, funding companies really force you to stick to that risk management. But I think
Yeah.
it goes backwards, because when you have to pass a challenge, it kind of gets to your head, right? Because you have to have to double your account, right? Because
Mhm.
100K account have 10K to, let's say, make 10%, which is another 10K. So that does mess with your head, and I did struggle with that, just because you have to risk a lot to basically pass. If you trade 0.25%, you're gonna pass in like 3 months. But if you're just starting out, then that's fine, right? But for me and for you and for everyone here, I think, and when you already have like 900K in capital or 1 million, when you start a new challenge, you can't really afford to lose time just risking 0.25%, right? You need to go higher. But once you reach the funded, uh, like the funded account, then yeah, risk management is certainly key, because it really helps you stay in touch, not risk over too much, because you end up losing your account and it hurts. And that's a good lesson.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I first started, the only account I had before I traded a prop firm account, I had a little personal 5K account with Oanda. And I traded well considering I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I didn't have like true systems in place. So when I started the prop challenge, I was like, okay, I've got these parameters. I got max drawdown. I've got max daily drawdown. Like, how do I avoid all of these traps? So if I got 5% max daily drawdown, personally, I can't let it go past 2.5. Really,
Yeah.
2.5, 2%
Mhm.
should be the shutoff. There should never be a position where I'm like hovering the screen trying to exit before something gets hit. So understanding that, hey, if I calculate my risk, if I put on 0.25% positions and I have 4 to 8 positions open at a time, if everything goes straight to hell, I'm out 2%. I'm clear of the barriers. The account's still intact. My mental's still intact. I can come back and really execute still and not come back trying to scramble or dig out of a hole. So the firm's really made me kind of step back and strategize a lot more than I probably would have on my own, because on my own I wouldn't have had those rules. I could have burnt it down to 0 in a day if I chose to. Um,
So
so
do you typically put on like a basket of positions, and you do you like hedge? Do you hedge your positions? Because it sounds like when you mentioned doing like 4 to 8 trades at 0.25%, is that typically what you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
so correct me if I'm wrong. Hedging is kind of back and forth, right? Both sides.
Or you could place like two let's say you have two pairs, right? If you have
Okay.
the euro and the pound, you might go short in the euro and then long in the pound, right? Because that's
Oh no,
somewhat of a hedge, right?
I see what you mean, but no, I don't do any of that.
Okay.
Generally, I've got, I'd say 4 pairs I actually trade. I look at like 10 of them, but I don't trade them all. Main
Hmm.
things I'm trading are US 30, Nasdaq. I trade UCAD some. I picked up AJ recently, and then AU was my other big one. But I basically come to the chart and I say, hey, I got 8 bullets today,
Mm-hmm.
8 bullets in my gun, and I can put on 3 Nasdaqs, 3 UCAD, and 2 AJs, or I can put on 2 now, 2 later, 2 later.
I always bring this up, so I got poker chips on my table. So
Yeah,
I'll typically take 3 trades in a week,
right, right.
and
Yeah, I trade a
those are
lot
my
more
bullets,
frequently.
right?
Yeah, those are your bullets. But and
Mhm.
everybody's gun's different. Like some people have a machine gun, some people
Yeah,
got a
exactly.
one shot, one kill.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll take. I mean, some days I'll take up to 16 to 20 trades. It depends on the market conditions. Like yesterday, I should have been scalping and I wasn't. I got jammed up a little bit. But there's days when I'm scalping more than trying to ride something.
It kind of
And
depends
I'll
on
be
the environment, right? Like
yeah,
if
yeah,
we're in a
yeah,
consolidation, which we kind of
right,
been in, well, maybe not the last couple weeks, but uh, the last 2 months, right? March and April was just a
yeah,
major consolidation, so it favors the scalpers, right?
yeah. But I'll scope out a zone, and it might be trading a daily fib level, and I'll take it from 61 to 38, anticipating the retracement, and I get out until it happens, and I might get back in later, after it's retraced some, or take half off and then add half back in. So I'm really flexible with my positioning. I try not to put too many barriers on myself, and as far as rules and whatnot, as long as I'm not doing anything damaging. Um, I think I'm the guy that kind of went out here and did everything everybody told him not to do, just to make sure it was true. And some of it worked for me, some of it didn't, and I just kind of put the rest of it together and kept what kept me going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a huge trial and error thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you hear more experienced traders say it all the time. Like they give you pointers and they give you tips, but it's like you're not going to know how to learn unless you like put your hand on the stove and burn yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, you got to feel the
Like
heat
it's
for yourself.
yeah, it's like a trial by fire, really. I mean, I experienced that myself. What about you, Andrew? Did you go through a period where maybe you were studying something and somebody was telling you, "Oh, don't do this," or and then you just did it anyway? Like, because for
Oh, all
me,
the time, bro. All the
yeah,
time. And anything in
Yeah,
my life, when someone tells me, don't do that, I just go ahead and do it and then see what happens. Yeah, because it's just the mindset I have. I'm not afraid of anything. And also, it's a big thing. When you need to take a decision and you take it, you need to understand what's the consequence to that, right? So if I
mm-hmm.
start a challenge, then I know that the money is basically lost for the challenge. If I manage to pass it and get back, then that's good. It's all about expectations, and that's a good point to have in trading. What your expectations? If you have high expectations, then you're gonna get disappointed and depressed, and then you're gonna stop progressing. But if you go in with no expectations, it is what it is. Then if it ends up in your favor, then you're gonna be happy. If it doesn't, then you're like
mhm.
nothing changed.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
a big
that's the thing.
thing.
Is like you got to go into. I mean, every time I place a trade, I always assume that I already took the loss.
Yeah, exactly. Same as me.
yeah,
I'm entering a trade, it's already lost.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
When I
already
enter a
journal it
trade,
as a loss.
yeah. I'm
Just to
not
remove
journaling that
that,
as a loss, but
yeah, but
No,
like
just to
your
remove
equity
it.
balance, yeah, you're
Yeah,
kind of subtracting it from your equity balance before you even start. It's like, okay, if I
Mhm.
lose this, I'm down 1%, like whatever.
So I know that you guys have both had like some pretty big payouts. I know Creedy's had a huge month this month. Like, what are you guys doing with those profits? Are you like reinvesting it in other businesses, or are you just trying to save up? I kind of want to get your guys' take on what you're actually doing with the profits that you're making.
should I go first? I don't
You
know.
go
At
ahead.
the moment, I just look at payouts. I don't know, just saving up, investing in some other business that I'm gonna start, investing it again into more challenges to raise my funding. At the moment, I'm just gathering as much cash as possible because we are living in a time where
Hmm.
big moves are going to happen, so it's good to have cash on hands. So I just been stacking and then keeping it close, just investing it into some crypto trading here and there, some stocks, some NFTs, some projects, just small amounts, and then just keeping more to myself.
Hmm.
At some point, then what money comes in just doesn't make any big difference, right? You get
Yeah.
20, 30K in a month, doesn't really make such a big difference, and just throw it
Well,
in the
especially if
pile
you have
and
like a
forget
nest
about it.
egg, right? If you already have a nest
Yeah,
egg, anything that comes in is just extra.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I don't know, buying stuff, whatever a normal guy does.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a little different for me because I'm coming from like I'm still working full time. Like I'm off today, of course, but I'm trying to eliminate a lot of debt that I've incurred. After during COVID, I made a job switch, and we did some other things. My wife transitioned to self-employed, so we took some risks over the past couple of years, knowing that we had good credit and we are going to kind of leverage it to try and see what we can make happen because no risk, no reward, right? Um, no need in having excellent credit if you're not going to use other people's money to make advances. So right now I'm just working on paying down some debt and just trying to build that nest egg, or I call it my buyout package, where basically I've got this money where if I decide I don't want to work anymore after a particular date, I want to focus on trading and other things. Just buying my freedom back is all I'm focused
Hmm.
on right now. Like,
Yeah, like what is your end goal? Like what number, how many months worth of expenses do you want to have saved up before you decide to make that leap? And is it your
so
plan? Is it your plan to make that leap? Like, or do you plan on working for a while, or
so
is
my
full time
my job
trading?
doesn't get in the way.
Hmm.
I'm an insurance agent, so I work remote from home every day. I have to go in the office like once a month, so it doesn't stop me from trading because I trade Asian session and New York. So it doesn't affect that at all. So it's kind of I want to get out because like there's like freedom on the other side of the fence, kind of. But at the same time, it's not stopping me from doing what I need to do. So right now, I think I'm going to ride it out for a while and see how far I can take it. With that cushion. Ideally, I'd like to have 6 months, but if I can stretch this out to the point where I've got 12 months, 18 beyond, I mean, that would be ideal because I don't want to put any unnecessary pressure on myself or my
Exactly.
family. So I'm not in any hurry to get out. Let's put it that way.
Hmm. So, I guess like what are your guys' goals as far as trading? Like, are you guys still trying to improve, or I mean, for me, I'm always trying to improve. Like, there's always something I could be doing better. Like, do you guys feel like you're almost at the peak of where you think your trading could go, or do you think there's more room to improve? Because for me, it's just right now, there's only so good my system is going to get. Like, I'm just trying to tweak specific things, but there's only so much optimization that you can do with a specific strategy before it's like tapped out, in my opinion. So, like, where do you guys stand as far as your trading journey? Do you guys think you're going to start picking up new strategies or start studying fundamentals more, or you kind of just figured, I have my system, I know what I'm looking for, and I'm just going to keep repeating the same process?
I think you can always improve yourself and your strategy. Even now, I keep adding stuff because I see new things happening. And it's also about how you manage different market conditions. Like you see, dollar has started to rally up again. How do you manage and how do you trade when there is no pullbacks, there is no continuations? How do you manage? Do you scalp? You need. I see like I don't see it as a strategy. I see it as understanding the market. Because if you understand the market and you have all the weapons, you can trade any type of condition. Now, let's say today, London session, I can scalp on the 5 second, let's say, take a trade, a 1 to 2. And then the next day, I can wait for a 4 hour setup and take a trade with a 15 pip stop loss, right? I need to know how to do both. So I think I'm constantly improving, constantly adding new stuff. And my goals for trading wise, is to increase my capital, maybe double it by the end of the year, have around 4 million, and then just focus on the easiest setups that I can find, like lower the risk, lower my mental pressure, and just keep it up as automated as possible. See the setup, take it, and then move on. Right? It's just a balance that I see trading. It's the balance between the mental stability and the money you manage and the risk you make and the money you make. Because there were times where I was making a lot of money, but I was trading the whole day. I was scalping, and my mental took a really big hit, and I had to take a step back. And then ever since then, I try to keep a balance. I
So,
think
like,
that's
have
a
you noticed as your capital increased, you because for me, like, as my capital increases, I'm actually trying to reduce my frequency. Like, I'm not
yeah.
trading as much. Um, I may be sizing up a
It's
little bit more. Like, I just don't want to be sitting in front of the screen all day long, really, because
exactly, yeah.
I got into trading to leave an environment where I'm working all the time. And like last year, I was in front of the screen nonstop, it was extremely draining on my mental capital. So yeah, as your capital scales up, are you
It's
finding
easier
yourself
to
trading
trade.
less?
Yeah, it's easier to trade because let's say you have five 300K accounts, they're all on break even, and then you see a setup on one account, you take it, you take a win. Let's say you take a 1 to 2 with a 1% risk or a 0.5%, and then you just have secured the payout. You leave it there, and then you go on to the next account and the next account. But if you only have one account, then you need to keep trading, right? Because you need to stack profits. But this way, if you have multiple accounts, you can do just tiny profits, which is easier. It's easier to make 1% on an account than, let's say, 5% or 6%, right? Because
Right.
it's playing with your mind because you see your account in profits, and then you don't really want to risk your profits, right?
Mhm.
But once you gain like little profits on each account, they add up really fast, and it's way easier to trade bigger capital for me,
Yeah, so,
especially.
like, let's say if you hit a big win early, and you don't have a payout for, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever it is, do you just stop trading? Because for me,
Yeah, stop trading.
yeah, for
Yep.
me, on some of my funded accounts, like, I hit a huge win, like, 2 weeks ago, I'm still waiting for the payout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
I
you're
rotate
you're
into.
getting paid to wait, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that the best thing?
I'm not I'm not trying to go back in and, like, push my luck because
Exactly.
if I lose
Yeah,
some of those profits, like, now I'm in,
gonna
like,
feel some
mental
type of way.
drawdown.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
paid to wait. Like, come
yeah.
on.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I get a lot quick, I try to park it and go do something else. I mean, I might continue trading, but it won't be on that account. I'll do
Right.
an evaluation or some other account. But if I
Mhm.
like the other week, I withdrew. It was like 6K, which is a lot for me, of my FTMO account. And the same day I withdrew it, like I got the account back and I made another 6K, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I'm parking this thing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
not gonna play with this fire. Like I'll just go do another evaluation, get more funding, do something else less draining. There's no need to risk that at that point. I mean, it's not like I
Yeah.
need money today, tomorrow. Like everybody's so eager to make money, and that's what gets us in trouble a lot of times. Is you see this money and then you want more, and then you want more. But the thing I learned most recently is that just practicing gratitude is like our biggest weapon against greed and FOMO. Like just be grateful. I'm so grateful for that 6K payout, and to have my account back at that same amount again so quickly. Like I'm going to do something else. Like
Yeah, yeah. Spend time with your family or go
right.
outside, just go out, get something to eat. Uh, don't sit if don't sit in front of the screen all day long and keep trying to press your luck because, it's rigged like a casino. Like the longer you sit at the table, it's gonna get cold at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
You
exactly.
just got to be
Andrew,
careful.
let's I know that you've had some issues with FTMO. Is it okay
Yes.
if you talk about that? Like
Yeah, sure.
I kind of
I
want to
don't know.
know, yeah, what happened, or if you reached out to them, or maybe just let some of the viewers know because we got a couple hundred people in here.
Yeah, so I
What
was funded
exactly
with
happened?
yeah, I was funded with FTMO, as I said in the beginning of my basically trading platforms. I was funded with them, I think 200K something, had a few payouts and then lost the account, and I haven't traded with them. I've tried a few challenges, I failed them, so it happens. And then I just kind of left it behind because there were other platforms coming in, like my forex funds, which have way better conditions, like 8%. You don't have to wait for one whole month to get your funded account, which is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think last month I was basically getting funded with a lot of capital. I added a lot of capital, and then I thought I want to add a max funded for my business account, right? To make like on my business account, just so I can get some profits there and not just on my name. So the two options that you have is through forex funds. They allow like business tax IDs to purchase the accounts and have the agreement and everything, and FTMO, right? So I got funded with through forex funds, 200K account. Everything went out good, and then I also started a 200K FTMO account on the same account that I had like since 2020, 2020. So I passed first phase, and for those accounts specifically, I know I risked when I take a challenge, I risk between 2-3% all the way to even 4%. I just push it because I trading the live accounts and I don't really have a lot of time. It's not really worth my time to trade and focus on the challenges. So I think I risked 4% on the first trade and I lost it, and then the next trade I risk again 4% or 3%, something like that, and won basically a 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, I think, and just got past the first phase. everything good. Waited for 10 days. Verification came in. Again, I took a trade, 3%. I lost it. And then the next trade, I took another 3% trade. And I think it was around 160 lots on Euro USD with a 2 pip stop loss. Yeah. And that just went my way. I passed the verification in that trade.
That's
And
a
I
lot.
just,
That's a big trade.
That's a
I
really big
mean,
trade.
yeah, but the stop loss was really small. I got a good entry. I was like, just let's finish this. And then, yeah, I passed it. So 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, 3 weeks later, right? 10 days on verification. I'm waiting for the funding account. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do the documents for the agreement with my business. I put them in, I uploaded them, and then 1 week passes by, no update. I keep chatting with them, asking them about my funded account. They say you have to wait. I don't know, just bullshit. And then I got that email that I posted on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, they warned me that I risked way too much in the challenge phase. I got 160 lots on EURUSD, and that was not good with them and everything. And they basically said that if I continue doing that, they're gonna cancel my account. But I didn't even have a funded account. I didn't receive it yet. So I just posted that on Twitter as a fun thing, and the caption was, "Am I not trading a demo account?" Because it's obviously a
Yeah.
demo.
Wait, so did you get the funded? Did you get your funded
No, I
account?
didn't get it. I didn't get it. So I was still waiting for the funded account after a week, and I
Oh,
posted that on Twitter. Am I not trading a demo account? And that made like 200K views in like 2 days. And then 2 days later, after that tweet blew up, I tried to log in and just said your account has been disabled due to violating, I don't know, and stuff like that. Posted that on Twitter also, and then I basically got an email from them 2 days later that they said my tweet damaged their
their
company a
image,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, their image a lot, and that I was not transparent with the post, even if I just screenshotted the email. That it's against their terms, which they're right. I'm not supposed to post communication emails, but I didn't really think it's a big of a deal, right? If you're a company and you do an action, you just why are you trying to hide it, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter who sees it.
Mhm.
And they basically went after the fact that in 2021 I think I had like 4 or 5 failed challenges. So they attacked that and said, basically, I'm not a good trader because I'm risking way too much and I failed like this amount of challenges in 2021, and that I was not transparent with my audience because I didn't say that. But that was
That's
not relevant
interesting.
to what.
I know there's
Yeah,
people that are out there that lost way more than
yeah,
Right.
but at the end of the day, is I cashed in more than I paid on the
yeah.
challenge, so it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter.
And there's so many
But
firms
yeah,
out there right now that it's not really affecting you too much, right?
yeah, and they went after that and basically said either I fix the PR damage that I did by being transparent, like saying on Twitter that I lost 5 accounts and I'm not a good trader, or I don't know what they wanted me to tell, or basically just delete the tweets and get my refund, and then I'm banned for life from their forum. I just went with the refund because there was no point in trading with them after waiting 1.5 months to just trade the 200K account. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not really worth it. So that was the story. Yeah, it
Oh
was quite
wow.
funny. Was quite fine. I'm more annoyed at the fact that I wasted 1.5 months just
Yeah, because
doing
Right.
you're never gonna get that
0.01
time back,
lots.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing with platforms is they never tell you at first. Like when you purchase the challenge, they don't say anything, or after you pass the first phase, they don't say anything about your trading. Only after you finish the whole challenge, they say something, or even when you get to your payout, they say something about your trading stuff or something that you did wrong, right? When they need to pay you, but when you pay them, they don't say anything. So I don't think that's pretty good. But I mean, it's an unregulated business, so you don't have anything to do.
Yeah. What can you do?
What can you do? Yeah.
Hey guys, so I'm gonna take a quick break. We're gonna when we come back, we'll answer some questions in the chat and open up the panel, I guess. And hopefully Kit is in it. Kit's in here right now, but he's been in here and he hasn't said anything. So we'll take a quick short break, and when we come back, we'll answer some of your guys' questions. All right.
Out here on the street, I'm losing my way. that's my mistake. Some might say I can't get too far without seeing your face. Oh, you gave me your heart and took it away. I'm going underground till your loving comes around, going underground, 'cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, yeah. Going underground, there was a spark, there's now only doubt. No, no, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Oh, I thought you were sure, now you're a losing. I'm going underground, oh, yeah. Going underground, oh, no. Till your loving comes around, going underground, 'cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, yeah. Going underground,
All right, guys, we're back. So I got a couple questions in here. So Billy asked, so do you recommend trade all your accounts separately rather than with a copier? Oh, that was a good point. So what do you guys typically do? I use a copier for a lot of my accounts, and I'm usually doing like 0.25%. Sometimes I'll scale, I'll go a little heavier if it's a really great setup, which I haven't found too many this year.
I'm experimenting. So my first bout with the copier, I put everything on it and I did some damage. I wasn't happy about it. Yeah. And so I detached them. I worked most of them back to equity normally. And I was like, okay, I'm never putting them all in here again. I take that back because I know now, looking back at it, sometimes you look back and say, okay, I got lucky or I wasn't ready or whatnot. I know I wasn't ready to do that now. Right now, I've got one copier with social trader tools. I've got 5 live accounts and 5 evals running, and I have 3 different sets of copiers. So I've got one that's just funded engineer. I've got one that's TFT / basically all the ACAP brokers, and I've got another one that's FTMO, MFF, and they're mixed with live and eval. So when I'm trading my live accounts, I'm still getting paid. When I'm passing evaluations, I'm still getting paid on my live accounts. But that's how I'm handling it now. It's been working for the past month and a half or so, and I'm just modifying it, trying to figure out exactly what to do and not to do.
Right. What about you, Andrew? Do you use a trade copier?
No, I do not use one. No, because I think you just expose yourself to a lot of risk that way, especially when you have like 6, 7 accounts. If you just have a bad streak, or I don't know, something happened, your psychology is down, you over risk, you over trade, you get over the daily drawdown, then you lose everything. So it's just put your eggs all in one basket is not really worth it for me, because it can happen. And I prefer trading them individually. Like I said, I take the first account, I take a trade, I win it. Let's say I make 1%, I just leave it there. Next one. And in 5, let's say I have 5 accounts, I make 1% profit on each of them. Then I either wait for a payout, or if I have 1 week left, I just go over again, right? And I start risking on them again. and slowly.
Okay, so you're not trading them all at the same time, right? Like
No.
you're not taking a trade in one account and then going to another one and taking a
No.
different trade.
Yeah.
No,
So
just
they're just
trading
sitting
one
there,
account
right?
until it's in profit. Maybe I
Okay.
lose 2 or 3 trades. I keep trading that account until it's in profit, and then I move to the
Right.
next one. That way, it just minimizes the risk for me.
Yeah, you got to be careful how much you're exposing when you get on the copier. It's like Jade, I know you're a lot more skilled than most, so you can handle a lot of accounts on there. Like when I put 5 accounts on one, it was like I was still thinking about the 4 in the background. I couldn't trade just the one. So just being careful with how much you expose yourself at a time. And then the other thing I forgot to mention is I don't have them all attached all the time either. So like I might have some attached and I get a decent amount of profit on a particular account and I pull that one off and I trade.
Yeah. You just turn it off, right?
Yeah, just turn that one off. So there's so
there's
many
a
ways.
bunch.
To
There's a bunch
it.
of ways to manage all your accounts. I don't think there's any one right or wrong way to do it. Like
It's
I think
like
it all
trading,
comes
man. It's
it all
whatever
comes
works
down to
for
personal
you.
preference, really.
Yeah, it's whatever works for you.
I mean, in my opinion, it is good to have some accounts that are not in drawdown, right? Like if you take one loss on one account, at least you can go to the next one and maybe it's not in drawdown and trade that one.
Yeah.
So I had a question for you guys.
Yep.
For each one of you guys, I guess all 3. Quickly, best moment as a funded trader and the worst moment, right? Like a couple sentences. What was the best feeling on this journey? And then what was one of the worst?
I'll let you guys go first.
Let me go first because you guys are probably going to trump all mine. So best moment was about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still pretty new. I don't know if you were on or not. I've been trading like 2.5 years.
I've been on. I've had kind of a bad connection a little bit, but I'm still meeting you guys for the first time as well. So it is nice to meet you guys, by the way.
Yeah, pleasure's mine, all mine. But yeah, I just got profitable. Like I finally eclipsed my profitability point back in November, and like everything from then has just been, just okay. I'm not worried about losses. Let me just see what I can do and manage what I've got. Best moment for me was probably about 2 weeks ago. I had my first 10K live day, and then first 10K live week, and then the following week on Wednesday I had my first 10K live day, and I was like blown away. Like this is what I've been working towards. Like this is what awesome. I put all this time into. This is what it's all about. But 2 years ago, I would have rushed. I would have gotten it and blown it up. And it's like God will give you things when you're ready for it, not when you want it. Because you got to show that you can be a good steward and be faithful over a few. Because if you can manage the small accounts, eventually you can scale up to the point where you can manage the larger live ones. Because it's all you're still trading. It's just managing risk, putting on some sizes and stuff. But for me, getting to that point was like, okay, I've done all the hard work is paying off basically, and now I need to just manage and just continue to execute and just keep improving, But that was my biggest one. My worst moment on the flip side, the first funded account I got funded was January of 2021. I got funded on a 50K with TFT. I got the account, and this is one of those moments where I say you look back and you're like, oh, I got lucky. And I look back now and I should have never had that account. I got lucky when I got that first funded account, and I can say that confidently now. And I had it 2 weeks, gone, toosh, like poof, gone, done, burnt up, 2 weeks. And it was like the worst feeling ever because I thought I had made it. I thought I'd gotten to the promised land to where I was trying to go. And then to squander it so quickly, it was really, really hard on my psychology and my mental, just realizing that something that took me 2 months of trading to get, a year and a half of education, but 2 months of like actually pushing the button, getting in and out, managing trades, to lose it that quickly, it was just like, okay, let me step back and make sure this never happens again, or at least not in this fashion anyway. Like, yeah, we're going to lose accounts, but not like this.
Right
Yeah,
on.
exactly. If I'm gonna lose an account, I want it to take as long as possible. Like I want.
Right.
I heard a really good chat with traders episode. I can't remember what the gentleman's name was, but he said if I'm gonna lose money, I want the market to fight me for it. Like I don't want to just give up my whole account, blow my whole account in one trade. Like they're gonna have to like tooth and nail claw that account from me. And the only way to do that is to take your time with accounts and trade slowly and I guess play the law of large numbers, right? And just play to the probabilities.
That's it.
Probability, I think, is a huge thing. All of you guys really probably manage well. You're putting yourself in a high probability scenario to win. So best and worst moment for you, Andrew. Curious.
Yeah,
Creedy. I mean, your story. I appreciate
Thank you.
the worst moment I had with, especially with in trading, was Funding Talent when they shut down, because I had my best month trading was when they shut down. I was in profit around 90K, so around 30%. I caught some huge gold moves.
Was that
and
heartbreaking at the time, though? Like, did you feel
Uh,
elated with the trading ability and then not to get like? You
I mean,
chased
yeah, I
sales,
did.
right?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking for, I don't know, a day, and then I
A
just moved
day.
on.
So you
Yeah,
were
I
pretty
mean, it is what it
mechanical about it.
is. Yeah, it is what it is, right? I knew the risk with funded companies, that basically, as I said, the expectations we have. So I
So
did
you
risk a
weren't
lot.
counting it as money that you had made, even though you
No,
made it.
no,
It
I
was
only
Yeah, it's
counted when
not
I
yours
see it in
until it
my
hits
bank.
your bank account, right?
right.
Exactly. So yeah, it was hard because I worked for a whole month and I stressed the fuck out, basically, because I was just trading gold like crazy, risking a lot, making 90K is like 30%. So it was really huge, and I just wanted to cash it out and then just forget about trading for like a month or two, just get it in. And yeah, they shut down. I did manage to get around 20K out of it, so I was like, still fine, right? Still 20,000. So I got that, and then I took a break for 2-3 months from prop firms. I think more
Oh,
than
so
that,
they did
maybe
pay you
half a
some of
year.
it. They didn't pay you all of it.
Yeah, they did pay, I think, around 20% or something like that. 15%.
That's probably all they had left in cash reserves.
Yeah. So it was,
You
it
made
was
them go broke.
heartbreaking, but yeah, it is what it is. And then the best moment, I think it was maybe this year, beginning of the year, because I was sick for New Year's Eve. I was with my wife in Barcelona, and we got sick, and we didn't really do anything for New Year's Eve. So we just slept earlier, and then I think the first trading day was 2nd of January, if I'm not wrong. So that first day of the year, I was just super focused because I didn't party, I didn't drink, and I took some trades. I took 2 trades on my fund accounts, and I made around 20-something thousand in like a few hours. So it was just a good moment because I don't know, I was proud of myself. Starting the year that good, just taking 2 trades, making 20-25,000. It was just a good start, and I felt really good
Wow.
about that.
That
Yeah.
had to feel amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
did
we're
you
young.
stop? You're like, all right, I'm just stopping. No way.
Yeah, exactly. We're young, and I was kind of proud of ourselves because we didn't do anything stupid like most people do. Most people start the new year drunk or hangover, and then they take a week or 2 weeks to get back in motion. And for me, it was first day, made money, let's get it. Let's start the year good.
Let's
So I was proud.
That's awesome, man.
go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
How
bro.
about you, Jade?
So I guess my worst point was probably so when I first got funded, I was still working. And then I had that huge Bitcoin short. I made like 80K. I think my profit split was like about 60. And then when I got the credentials for the next accounts after I got paid out, I blew it in like 2 days. So me trying to get those accounts back was probably like the worst part of my journey. I mean, at least my funded journey, that was like the worst part because like I had got this huge payout and like, obviously you get those feelings where like I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then I lost the accounts and I'm like, all right, I'm still stuck in my job. Like like the 50K was nice, but at the time, like it wasn't consistent. Like I wasn't consistent enough to say, all right, I'm going to leave behind my job, right? Because I was making almost 6 figures at the time, and then I switched jobs, and my my mental capital was like going down the drain. I was still trying to get my funded accounts back, and then I eventually, I think after a month or two, I was able to get most of my funded accounts back, and I was like at $1 million. But it would that period was really difficult because as soon as I lost those two funded accounts, it was like, all right, I'm still on my job, and I wasn't like truly consistent. Like I definitely felt like I was gambling, and I think that was the turning point for me. That was back in 2021. So 2022, I think my best moment was towards the end of the year, because at the end of those 12 months, it was like, all right, I actually went full time. I didn't give my bosses like any notice. I just quit the day after. I almost got in like a huge car accident. I was super stressed out. So I just quit on the spot basically. And then 12 months later, I had made it a full year as a full-time trader. And I think, my withdrawals exceeded any type of expectation I had for that year, for that year. Because when I went full time, it was just like, all right, I don't really care if I make money or not. At the end of this year, I'm gonna know where I stand. And I think where I ended up was like levels beyond where I thought I was gonna be. I thought I was gonna kind of just scrape by and figure it out along the way, but I kind of like, you know,
Crushed it.
I had some months where it was like, 50, 100K months,
Yeah,
and it was like,
you're
wow.
you're one of the most successful funded traders here on Funded Fridays, which adds a lot of legitimacy to the conversation.
Yeah, I'm still chasing that 100K day. I just I've come close, but no
Wow,
cigar.
wow.
It'll find you when you stop looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Here's a question from somebody. How do you manage trading new prop firm challenges and already past accounts? Kind of already answered this a little bit, Michael. Same trades on past accounts and challenges, or do you pause your past accounts and focus on the challenge, or how? Now, I know you guys already answered this question, but maybe someone wasn't here. If you don't mind just touching on it again quickly, I think it is an important theme for a lot of new folks entering into the marketplace, right? How are you managing the new challenges versus the past accounts? I know Cready Trades, you mentioned that you're a little, you're consistent with your evals in your live accounts, correct? Like you mix them together while,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do. And part of the reason I did that was there's a huge disparity between how I traded evaluations and how I traded live. So what I decided to do was put them together and try and find, that sweet spot in the middle. That way I'm not risking too much, risking too little, and my brain isn't going all over the place, trying to adjust strategies. Thank you, son. Yeah, thank you.
Attaboy, Daddy.
For me, I don't even think about it. Don't even think about like, all right, I have this prop firm challenge, I have these past accounts. Just trade. You have to just focus on trading. If you could trade well, it doesn't matter what accounts are attached to it.
That's a great answer. And then you
just got to manage your risk. Like I don't care if it's a prop firm challenge. I don't care if it's a funded account. I still have to manage risk at the end of the day. So just disconnect from the fact that you might have X amount of days left, because in real trading environments, there is no time limit. Like you just have to manage your risk properly. That's it.
And Andrew, you kind of treat each and every account individually, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So you approach, if it's an eval, your approach is a little more aggressive.
Yes.
You want to get
and I usually when let's say I have a good month or a good week and all my funded accounts are in profit, I usually just lock those profits in and then try to get a new challenge and pass it and trade that instead of trading the live accounts. So just securing the profits and then leaving room to trade on the evaluation accounts.
So you start new evals once your funded accounts are in the money and you're waiting for payout. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
well, I feel like trading looks like a good day to trade. I'm just going to
Yeah,
start an eval today.
exactly. Yeah, and I see a good trade and I take it on a evaluation account. I don't want to risk profits, locked profits.
Out of curiosity, each one of you guys, I know you kind of already answered this, but how many evals are you trying to run versus live accounts are you running? I know you're all managing different amounts, but if it were like you're managing 2 or 3 live accounts, 2 or 3 evals, what's that look like quickly? Creedy, Jade, and then Andrew.
Yeah, right now I've got 5 live, 5 evals I'm working on, and
5 evals.
I've got them on copiers, and basically I've got them grouped by firm.
Yeah,
So
you
and
were
then I
saying
peel
that.
them on, peel them off, turn it on, turn it off.
Right on.
I turn the whole copier off. I might turn one account off. It's really discretionary and very flexible.
Nice. I mean, it sounds like it's a system, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
it is a system at the end of the day, and it's I've kind of built it to work for me, just like anybody else does with the trading system. That's what the
yeah,
whole game is about for me. It's really just figuring out what works. And if you have to build it backwards, reverse engineer it, and say, okay, well, I see this guy doing this. Well, let me chop it down backwards, and see, how to put it together. If I can take it apart, I can put it back together, and that's how I approach everything, really.
nice.
Me, I'm a little bit of a degenerate. Like I'll just try and like max allocate at one firm at a time. So, if I started out FTMO, I was trying to max allocate with them, and then I moved on to my Forex funds and max allocate with them. Moved on to the funded trader, max allocate with them. True Forex funds, the same thing. Like, and then once I'm funded, like I deleverage, right, and then I just go for a different firm and try and max out. Um, so I'm trying to do the funded engineer right now. My phase 2s are in drawdown right now, so it's not looking great, but there's no time limit. So if it takes me 2-3 months to pass, it doesn't really matter to me. Like I have enough live capital that I can trade and make a really good living off of right now, so I'm not like in a huge rush. And if I lose them, I lose them. Like it's $1,500, $2,000 that I'll just pay for another challenge. Like it's not the end of the world. Like it's just a business expense. Like I mean, we're in an industry where there's like zero overhead. Like I have a hard time trying to find things to write my taxes off against. Like I'm just literally, you pay for a computer setup, you pay for your internet. Other than that, like what are you expensing? So like if you're
Your
losing
mind.
challenges, yeah, if you're losing challenges, like that's just going against your income, right? Write it off and move on. Like
Yeah, it's a
we're in an
business
industry
expense,
where
literally.
it's like to me, it's the best business in the world because I don't have to pay an employee. I don't have to, pay for rental space or anything like that. I don't have to worry about a customer coming through my door or an industry that's slow, right? You don't have to worry about any like supply chain issues, none of that. You just click a button and you can make money. So, to me, I just look at it as an expense. Like if I'm losing an account, like I have enough money that I can just go and pay for another challenge. Like it's not a big deal.
That's a really, I think that's a paradigm shift in and of itself. It's a business expense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably pretty enlightening, I think, for a lot of folks listening. How about you, Andrew? I mean, great points, Creedy and Jade.
I think of it as the same way. So my fund, let's say I have 30K in withdrawals that's gonna come in at the end of the month. I just take 10K away from that and invest it into other challenges and trade those. If I fail them, I fail them. I did make some mistakes the last couple weeks. I did blow some accounts, some challenges, just because of that reason, because I had some big payouts lined up and I was over my head, and I basically gambled the challenges. I wasn't really patience. I didn't have patience with the accounts, with the trades. So that was a mistake on my part, but I stepped down from it and I'm going to focus on my live accounts for the next 1 or 2 months before adding more capital. Just because there's no point in me making 30, 40K if then I'm just going to end up blowing 10K on challenges that I'm not even going to pay attention. I'd rather just blow the 10K on something else and buy something, So, but I think COVID does the same way. It's just a business expense, right? You get money in, you invest it into more capital, and then you grow the business. And just how it works at this certain level. That's the way to scale.
Yeah, I mean, going back to like a business thing, right? Most people that start their own businesses, right, are willing to not get paid for the first 2 or 3 years. Like we're in an industry where we can get paid right away, as long as your bottom line is positive. Like who really cares? I think some people brought up the fact that Paladin like lost X amount of counts, but I'm just thinking to myself, this kid made like over 250K, even though he spent $20,000 or $30,000. Is that still not? That's still a great business, right? Is it not?
Yeah, that's
At the end of
still
the day, he
well
still
in the
doesn't have
green.
to pay an employee, doesn't have all these overhead expenses. Like it's still a great business.
And one point that I want to add is I think of funded accounts as basically an asset. So you need to protect the asset at all costs because that asset produces you money inside the business, right? So it makes sense from a business perspective to invest money in the potential of acquiring a new asset that's going to make you money. Because for us, if you make let's say you get a new 300K funded account, that's an asset that's going to make you at least 5% or even 10% over the next year. Like 10% in a year on an account, it's easy to make. Plus, you get the money back. So for me, it's worth to invest, let's say, 10K in challenges to get a 300K funded account after maybe blowing 3 or 4 challenges, because that's gonna make me 30K in the next 6 months or 3 months or 4 months. So it makes sense, right? You invest into the asset, and the asset produces you money. And it's just the way you think about it, right? Most people think of challenges and funded accounts as the holy grail of trading. Like they need to make it in order to make money, which in reality is just a game. Just play a game, right? You get funded capital, you trade it, you make money, you invest it, you get more capital, you lose some capital, and then it's just a game where you manage to get more capital and more capital and make more money and more money. You lose some, you make more, and it's just a game, right? If you see it
Yeah,
as a
Right.
game.
it's the
Yeah.
game of business, right? You're trying to start small
Exactly.
and just scale it. Like the best
Yeah.
businesses, I think, are the ones that find a product or a service that works and then scale it infinitely.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest part for me to grasp too. Is when I hit that drawdown period. It was like I got these accounts in drawdown, and I'm burning up all my capital trying to recover. And I'm like, I know that I'm talented and skilled and disciplined enough to get more accounts. So why am I tripping over these accounts in drawdown? You know, it's a business expense. Like
Hmm.
honestly, if you pass the challenge, you get your refund. At minimum, get your refund. You're risk free. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can get your refund and a payout on the account served its purpose. I mean, the only thing you're losing at that point is time. And when I realized that, that helped me be a little bit less reserved as far as my mental capital, and just be like, okay, like I don't need to trip over this account that's in drawdown. I've got another eval that's halfway funded. It's going to be double the size of this one anyway, so it's go or blow. Let me bring it back or let it go. I mean, but holding on to the accounts in drawdown was really damaging for me.
it's Mile High Dave asks, how can you start this as a business? It's pretty simple. I mean, you can just write. You can open up an LLC. I'm not sure if you're in the States, it's a little bit different maybe than Europe or anywhere else. But you just open up an LLC. Everything is just ordinary income anyway, so you can even do it. I think without a business, you can find ways to expense certain things. Obviously, you gotta talk to a CPA. So there are certain things you can write off, certain things you can't. You can write off like office expenses. You can write off failed challenges. You could write off utilities, stuff like that. There's only so much you can write off though. You can't just start paying zero on your income on your income taxes.
That's what I started to realize
You
too.
can
Was
pay for you can get real estate and depreciate it. Like there's certain things you can do that to be a little bit more tax efficient. But I'm in New York, so there's really not too many things I can do to like avoid taxes unless I own a ton of real estate that I can depreciate against my income. um, what other questions we got in here?
There's some really good questions in
How
here.
much of your income comes from prop firms and how much in my own capital? I'm not even really trading my own capital right now.
yeah, I'm not either.
Listen, trading your own personal capital is way different than prop firms because, again, like when you take that loss, like Creedy was just talking about it, when you take that loss, that's actually your money that you're losing, right? If I'm just trading prop firm capital, if I take a big loss on the day on my funded account and I've already gotten paid out, I'm not losing any money. So I think trading your personal capital, right? There's pros and cons to it. I think once you get over a certain point and you can be conservative with your risk management, then maybe trading your own personal capital is a good idea. But as you're like building, prop firm capital is giving you the leverage without any of the risk. So I don't really have any need to trade the personal capital.
Yeah, that's what I came to realize when I stumbled across the firms was, hey, I've got 5K that I'm willing to lose of my personal money, or I could go buy a challenge for 10% of that 5K. That's going to give me 10 times. I'm sorry, 20
Yeah.
times
Mhm.
the amount in leverage. And if I blow it, I can go get 9 more of them. Let's just say if I don't,
Yeah.
if I don't make it. So I mean, starting from the bottom, prop firm's the way to go. Um, Eventually, I want to get to the point where I can have personal accounts. Like I want a personal account with a regulated broker like Oanda, but I know
Mhm.
I'm going to need a substantial amount of money to trade it the way I want to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get into futures.
Listen, because once you get to a certain point with the funded trading, like you have your personal account's got to be 200 or 250K to
Right,
try and match that, to try
right,
and match that level of income. And then
yeah,
at that point, yeah, you're risking your own money and you can lose your money.
Yeah, same for me. I don't really trade personal capital anymore. Uh, Last time I traded was, I think, a few weeks ago when I think I had 1K into account and I just basically gambled it. I mean, not gambled, but I just took a trade and swinged it for the week and got it to 10K in a week, and then I just withdrew it because it's not really any point in trading your own personal capital, right? It's just
Yeah.
easier to trade with capital
yeah.
that you have no investment into.
Simone
When you think
asks,
And
about the leverage, okay.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say when you think about the leverage, it's like how much work do you want to do to get paid, and you're doing the same amount of work to make less money. Like why not? You know, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
try and take your 2000 account and turn it into 20K, right?
Yeah,
You know, like to get that 20K drawdown limit, you might spend 2K to 4K. Try and take that to 20K in the same amount of time, in a month or 2 months. It's like impossible to do. So
yeah,
the leverage that prop firms provide is a huge advantage. So
yeah. For me, I
Simone
feel
asked,
like you'll be
if you
good.
identify as a business, you need to be a professional. No, so like you don't need to be a professional. You don't need any licenses or anything. Really, when you're just opening up a business, it separates what you're trying to do is just separate your finances. Really, you want your business expenses and finances and everything different, separate from your personal income. That way, it's not just all commingled together. Because when it comes time to your taxes and your expenses, like you can't commingle your personal expenses with your business expenses. Like that doesn't make any sense. So in order for you to open up a business bank account, you got to have an LLC. You got to have an EIN. So go and set up an LLC. Just you want to be able to separate all your business with your personal, so you know exactly what the business is bringing in. You know exactly how much is going out, right? And maybe you have your own other personal income that's coming in. But if you want to really keep track of all your expenses for your business only, like there's no better way than having a separate business bank account and tracking all those expenses through your business entity.
Yeah, anybody that's serious about trading, like actually like serious about trading, I recommend they do that right away. Because for me, when I did it, it 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 added another level of seriousness to what I was doing. I was like, okay, like I got a QuickBooks account, I got a business checking, like
Mhm.
I got a P&L. I'm running reports. I'm trying to see what I'm spending, what I'm making, and but for me, it was different too because I worked in retail for a long time, and I had to manage books and stuff like that. So for me, it was kind of natural, and it was more. It made it feel more serious as a business. Like, okay, I'm an actual business. This is credit trades. This is what we're
Mhm.
bringing in. This is what's going out. Are we making money or are we not? And that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And it doesn't cost a whole lot to set it up. It's like $400.
Yeah, it's like
Bank accounts
$300 here in Maryland, and
free.
bank account's free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're concerned about making or losing $400, like you're in the wrong place anyway.
Yeah. So this person says I can start an LLC. So you don't need to trade for the LLC, right? You can still have your personal name on your funded accounts. Just when you withdraw, just send it to the business bank account. That's your business income. Or yeah, you could set it up where if let's say if you have your own personal account at Oanda or something, you can open up a business account under the LLC and trade for the business. I think if you do it I think you might be able to do it under an S corp. That way you can avoid some self-employment taxes too. But you got to pay yourself a reasonable salary. Again, like I'm not an accountant. I'm not an expert. You got to reach out to a CPA. Billy asks, so I've been graphing every week trying to get ready for my first challenge. I know I'm profitable and can make 10% every week. Yeah, see, if you're scared to mess up, it's you have to ask yourself, like, are you actually willing or ready to lose that money, right? If you're paying for a challenge and you're scared of losing that assessment fee, then maybe you're not ready, uh, or at least in a personal spot where you're comfortable losing that money. Like, I guess for me personally, it was just a small percentage of my weekly paycheck or my biweekly paycheck. So if I lost it, I was probably going to spend that money on something dumb anyway. Like, it wasn't life or death for me if I lost the account.
Yeah, you got to
Which I know
repurpose.
a lot of people out there are doing it. It's do or die. Like, I'm all in. I'm spending all my money on these funded challenges, and they're putting more pressure on themselves than they really need to. I don't think we do. We have any other questions in here? I know when you guys said that you guys got to hop off in a little bit.
What a great conversation today with you guys. Jeez.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. It's really interesting to have people that are not ICT traders, because I've been around the game for over 10 years, right? So I understand, like, we're all trading the same price. It doesn't really matter what kind of style or strategy you're using. It's more about, like, the processes and the risk management, psychology, everything that goes into being a profitable trader. It has very little to do, in my opinion, with like a technical system, because you could
Yeah,
literally trade the moon phases if you wanted to, and if you have the right risk management and psychology, you'll find a way to be profitable.
yeah. I want to add something to that because most people, when they start, especially I see it all over my communities, my Instagram, Twitter, people tend to focus on the wrong stuff. They tend to focus on, oh, you're trading ICT, or you're trading smart money concepts, you're trading Fibonacci, you're trading retail. That's not good. This is the way to trade it. Trade tartar soup or whatever it's fucking
Mhm.
called. It doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you trade. People go after
Well, they're trying
me.
to
They
make it
say,
like they're trying to make it a measuring contest. Like,
yeah,
my
yeah,
system's the
Yeah,
exactly,
best.
right.
My system's the best. I got the
Exactly,
I got the
exactly.
holy grail, and
and
nobody's
then
trading better than me. And like,
yeah,
there's millions of other people that are out there trading better than you. I'm telling you, like, you might not know
exactly.
about
There's
them, but
always
there's yeah.
someone above, and people come to me always and say, "Oh, he used this, I don't know, change of character to take this trade, or he used a supply zone to take this trade." Like, why does it matter how I took the
Who
trade?
cares?
Or
Yeah, who
who
cares?
cares?
Are
I
you
make
making money
money
or
and
not?
you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So for everyone watching, if you're just starting out or you're struggling to pass a challenge or something, just stop focusing on what other people do. Start working on your
That's so huge,
psychology.
man. That's so huge.
Work on
There's
your
so many people out
psychology.
there that are just like, they got their ego is just running hot at all times. Like, they think they're
Mhm.
the best trader out there, and they got to prove it to people that I'm the best trader out there. When really, in reality, nobody really cares. The market doesn't care.
Right.
Like, can you make money or not? Like, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, man. And again, nobody cares at the end of the day. It's just you versus the market. So stop
Mhm.
focusing on what strategy you're using, or if that strategy is better. Just stick to one thing and work more on yourself. Instead of working on your strategy, maybe work more on your mindset and your psychology, and develop that more, because after that you're going to see a big change in your trading and in your life. And then you can trade anything. You can trade off. I know people who are trading Fibonacci retracement, the 0.62 level, and then just take the trade with 1 to 1 or 1 to 2, and they are making big money. They
Mhm.
just stick to one thing, and they have a really good risk management, and that's it. You can trade anything.
Yep.
And when I see people saying that I can make 10% a week, but I can't pass a challenge, maybe you're going about it the wrong way. Maybe make it 10% a week is not that good. Maybe in theory it is, right? They think about a 100K account. I make 10% a week. I make 10K a week, but that's not the reality of it. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all know
Yeah.
it, right? So maybe look at it the other way around. Maybe look at how you can make 2% in a week over a few months, or maybe how you can make 1% a week even over a few months. That's going to help you a lot more than wishing for trading the 1 minute time frame, the seconds time frame to take 6 trades in a day and have 1 to 10s and stuff like that, which doesn't really work.
Yeah. In
Stop
trading,
focusing
I
on that.
always find, like, less is more, in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%.
The harder you work at trading, it doesn't equate to more profits. Like
No, not at all.
No, man.
You just
And
dig
the biggest
hole
days I had,
fast.
the biggest days I had were when I was just on a vacation or not paying attention and just took a trade from
Yeah,
my phone,
exactly.
looked for 5 minutes on the chart, took the trade, forgot about it, and then woke up in profit. Those were the best days.
Exactly.
When I
Those are the
stick to my
best.
PC.
And yeah,
Yeah.
for me too, like those are the best days where I put a trade on and leave it overnight. I wake up in the morning and I'm up huge, right? Because now you're not spending your mental capital just trying to watch the trade and watch every single movement, every fluctuation of the market. Like it's best if you just place the trade and just walk away, honestly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of
Remove
people
yourself.
focus on the wrong things too, though. Because like you want to make 10% a week. Like, what are you risking to get that 10%?
And if you don't
So-
hit a 10%, right, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys, but I never set goals on what I'm trying to make. I don't ever do that. Because if I
No, me
don't
neither.
perform, like what am I going to do? I'm going to just go back in the market and try and push it again.
exactly.
Like that's not how you operate.
Yeah, I just
If the
gotta work
market's
from
not
that.
going to give it to me, then I'm not going to try and press it.
Expectations, like I said, if you set low expectations that you have a 99% chance of hitting, like making 1% in a month, and you can hit that every single month. So if you set low expectation, then you're gonna be happy if you make 5% or 6% or 7%. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But
Yeah.
Like
if you
my
have a high
expectation is I just want to be net positive. I don't even care where I end up. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
if as long as I can make money, I know I'm going to have those months or those weeks where I'm doing 10, 20, 30K, right?
It's still
All right.
good.
Well, I guess on that note, we'll wrap it up here. I know this probably ran on a little longer than some of you guys could stay on, but I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. Again, this is Trader Roundup. We're just trying to bring people together and get 1% better. It's great to have two people that are not ICT traders because the majority of our community is. So, it's great to have you guys on. I love seeing the success. Guys are posting withdrawals and showing people that, you can get funded at multiple accounts and manage multi-millions of dollars. It's awesome to see. So, Andrew, thanks for sharing your story about FTMO.
Thanks.
It's enlightening. So again, people, you gotta measure the risks out there. Prop firms do provide a great opportunity to increase your leverage and use other people's capital to make a living. So again, thanks for coming on, guys. Maybe we'll do it again sometime in the future. So on that note, if you're in the U.S., hopefully you guys have a great holiday weekend. We'll be back next Friday.
Thanks, Jade.
Yep.
Thanks,
no problem.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.